Well, hello there. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the show. This is AOR. In today's episode, I am attempting to give you guys an update on the Tier 5 crafting update. It is the long-awaited, highly envied update that we are all waiting for. And unfortunately, I have good news and bad news. The good news is Tier 5 crafting is coming. The bad news, however, is they unfortunately do not have a set date. I am reading this from what I've been able to find. And it looks like there's a lot that's going to be kind of rolled into this update. So I'm going to briefly explain to you guys in this live stream episode what they are announcing, as well as what we can expect and how soon. And then I'm going to give you guys like a brief recap of everything that's happened updates wise over the last basically 2-3 weeks. So don't really mind too much of what I'm doing on screen. It's pretty unrelated, minus the backpack update, which is actually super OP, but more on that in just a moment, so stick around. For those of you joining me, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. If I could ask you to give this a like and subscribe if you found it to be useful, helpful, informative, or of any value to you. I really appreciate it. It helps to grow this channel. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the updates here that we have on Tier 5. So as previously mentioned, there's not yet a specific release date. Currently, there's no specific release date for Tier 5 crafting in Icarus. However, the discussions that are being had, not just by the community, but by the devs, include things like advanced crafting options such as the thorium power plant. You can see that actually in my thumbnail. That's like the picture that they've teased us with. And then in addition to that, there are going to be specialized items like the 6x6. I think that's to mean like tires. So there will be 3 tires on, or 3 rows of tires on each side, probably 2 tires each. It is a moon buggy and potentially a quad. I believe they're referring to like an all-terrain vehicle, either style or, I mean, I hope that's what they mean by quad. I can't imagine they mean like anything else other than that. When I hear quad, at least, that's what is conjured in my mind. And the hype right now is that the players are looking forward to these new features. Any updates will be released in the future, but no concrete timeline has been released by the devs. So they're teasing us. They're really edging us, if I'm being honest, with this new Tier 5 crafting concept. I am frothing at the mouth, just kind of waiting. To be honest, the reason I haven't really done much content over the past couple of weeks is I am just anxiously waiting for this update. In fact, I've been, let me clear this from the screen real quick. I have been cashing in on my tech tree. I've racked up 36 points since the last major update. There are definitely things I want out of here that I think would be beneficial to have out of the tech tree. Mostly tiers 3 and 4, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of these things would be fun to craft and just kind of like explore them a bit more in detail and jump into like the minutia details. I mean, you guys have been watching my channel for some time now. I'm kind of a nerd that way. It's my pride and joy. I really like to get into the nitty-gritty details of a game and just kind of leverage everything I can in my favor. So check it out. I mean, while we don't have an exact release date, I think that's a good thing. Two thoughts on this, and it might be controversial, and you definitely don't have to agree with me. But the reason I think that's good is if you look at other games, especially major titles, I think one way that devs do themselves and the community, us, the players, a tremendous disservice is by giving us an expectation and then epically failing to meet that expectation. So, for what it's worth, genuinely, I am kind of glad that they haven't yet announced a release date. That creates a bit more tension and suspense, albeit that may be true. However, I think a good sign for us prospectors when it comes to the game Icarus is not only are they very much invested in giving us a good product, they are managing expectations. I don't think you guys, and you may know this, but that is a big deal, man. I look back at like the most recent experience that I had. I love Bethesda, and I have always been a huge fan. I have several thousand hours in Skyrim alone, and a few hundred hours, almost 400 hours. I think it's like 384 hours in Starfield. But I think if you look at Starfield and some of their other titles, I think there's a good argument to be made about expectation management and how it can either really, really help your cause or just kind of explode in your face. So while I love Bethesda games and have cherished playing many hours on their titles, they have done a very terrible job with meeting expectations that they set. Like, they set our expectations. They divulge information to us willingly. Like, no one tied him up, took him hostage, and held a gun to their head to tell us that information. They, of their own free will and choice, told us all of that, and then severely disappointed many of us in the community. Not to go on a tangent about Bethesda, but I think you might have a better idea now of what I mean by expectation management. It is a big deal. To kind of give you another example, again, I'm not trying to go in like crazy tangent mode here, but look at the great campaigns on your Steam account and look at the reviews for the great campaigns. You will find many mixed reviews, and there is a good reason for that. I think the hype and expectation surrounding the Great Hunt campaigns is like a perfect indicator. It is a perfect example of why they need to manage our expectations. Excuse me, I'm drinking Rockstar here. I'm gonna crack this bad boy open. Cheers. So yeah, I mean, if you look at those mixed reviews, excuse me, when you look at those mixed reviews, it tells you a pretty good picture. How well did they meet our expectations? Having played through 2/3 of it, I would say I'm a fan of the content, and I can kind of see where they were going with that DLC. But I don't know that I would be in a hurry to recommend to you to buy it. So the mixed reviews kind of make perfect sense, and I'm not surprised at the end of the day why it got such a bad rap. I'm still a fan of some of the content that's there. Look, I think like the new weapon systems and platforms are incredible. I've had quite a bit of fun using them, and I'd probably play it again in the future, but there are a lot of cons to playing that campaign, and most of that comes in the way of FPS. So anytime you place a deployable in the game, I'll give you an example here. orbital exchange interface. This should count as a deployable. So right now I have 12 deployables. I'm going to kind of demonstrate this here. Hopefully I'm not crazy. Okay, 13 deployables. So any deployable, your OEI, a campfire ring, crafting station, any of those things that are in the game, they will significantly impact your game. The more buildings, the more deployables, the more mounts, wires, and pipes that you have in your open world. Here's where it becomes a problem. So if you've done any of the campaigns, you know that there are buildings and deployables that spawn. They're super fun. You can tear them down, you can move into them, take all the deployables, bring them back to your base. It's the spoils of war. It is awesome. However, if you don't do a good job of managing how many of those deployables and buildings and pipes and wires, which there will be many, it will significantly impact your gaming experience. I'm playing on a relatively hefty rig. I've got the 4070 Ti, Ryzen 9, and 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. All the bells and whistles, right? Anything that you could hope for in a rig that will last you probably 5 to 7 years of gaming. However, doing one of those campaigns will significantly impact your gaming experience unless you do a really good job of managing those things. Your buildings, deployables, all of that jazz. So again, I'm not trying to go on a tangent. All of that is just to say I think they're being smart. I don't fault them for not giving us a release date. But I am super excited about what the future will bring. Moreover, I wanted to give you guys a brief update, catch you up to speed on the latest, greatest when it comes to their weekly content release. So week 212 was probably the most exciting thing to happen since the Ubis mount. I am super stoked to know that we can now tame mammoths. We can have a mammoth as a tame, a mount, base defense. I think it's super rad. I have been traveling into the Arctic biomes and the swamp biomes here on Prometheus, as you can tell from the purple sky, and I have yet to find a juvenile. Basically, they put this in week 212, so that's a couple weeks ago now. They've made a number of improvements to the mount UI, so basically the way you interface with all of that. The updates make it easier to basically see important mount information just at a glance. It's like a kind of a user-friendly interface to make things a little more simple for you. And then it allows you to more clearly see what is being presented in the talent tree. All of that I'm a fan of. Look, like any dev that's gonna shovel out weekly content to you guys is definitely a good developer team. Like, I can't stress that enough. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or dissing devs. Like, I am always pretty happy with what comes out each week, so you won't hear a lot of complaints. But I also want to be realistic and give you guys like an honest opinion. I'm not like receiving anything from the devs, and if I were, I would disclose that. In addition to the number of improvements from week 212, they're also giving us a better look at the system that's coming for streamlining crafting and giving us a little more flexibility with the tag system. So basically, there's going to be a new tagging system, and you're looking at your craft menu that will kind of streamline things and make it a little bit more manageable. They don't want to just crowd your screen with all these recipes that you'll have to sift through to figure out what you're trying to build or what is required in that recipe to build it. So I think that was kind of necessary. We really needed that, if I'm being honest. So I'm glad to hear that they are working that, and they have already started releasing these new crafting systems. I'm going to read off the notable improvements to you guys. So this is just like straight from the devs. It says, fix an issue where the custom game settings could not be opened in the dedicated servers. Personally, I've never actually used dedicated servers, so I haven't observed that being an issue, but they now can be, basically when you're creating a prospect in the lobby. Saddle tool tips now show what creatures they can be equipped to, which I think is super helpful. You don't have to sit there and build a few different saddles and try and guess which one's going to work for your mount. They have tagged on the screen which saddle will be used or usable for each tame. In addition to that, they've now represented these by adding icons for the creatures, or of the creatures, if you will. The mount health bar and player health bars have now they've now added a size bar. So if you look down at my bottom left corner of my screen here, you will notice, let me tab out right here. You will notice they actually add the size of the health bar and the limit. So it doesn't just, extend endlessly across the screen here. Super nice. It's a small thing, to be honest, but I view it as like a quality of life improvement. Or big deal. Like, definitely not necessary, but the fact that they did it is super nice. Like, I cannot overstate that enough. That is exactly what you want to see from your devs. You want to see them looking to improve not just the game content, but your gaming experience. Those two things kind of go hand in hand. And props to the devs, man. Like, honestly, that's exactly what you want to see. I mean, that's exactly what I want to see, and I intend to play this game for 700 more hours. I think I'm sitting at like 760 right now. In addition to that, the rideable woolly mammoths that I've alluded to previously, they already started fixing some issues with it, where the custom game settings could not be opened in dedicated servers. For those juvenile mammoths, dealing with the parent is going to be a necessity, though. You can't just run up on it and like claim it. You have to first, unfortunately, take care of mom and pop. But once you've done that, you can go ahead and claim or tame that juvenile mammoth. Craft unique mammoth saddle at tier 2 animal bench and equip it to travel across the map. And it sounds like their main focus was getting the animal, the mammoth, to traverse many different terrain features. So it sounds like it's going to be beneficial in multiple ways, not just new content, mind you, but it sounds like they're working on like the AI, the pathing, and your experience with riding it. And honestly, say what you will, I think most of the tames are relatively easy and fun to ride, but I think adding the mammoth and then working on it to make sure it has an advantage, not just in skill, but like traversing the ground. I don't know about you, but every now and then I'll get into a riverbed and my Moa struggles to get out of that riverbed. So I'm glad to hear that they've worked fixing the pathing and traversing on the mammoth. You'll find mammoths roaming colder regions, and they follow the same taming and care systems as existing creatures, making them easy to integrate into your current playstyle. So, huge plus. That is good to hear. I imagine they're going to require a lot more food, probably a lot more water too, if we're being honest. But I have yet to find a juvie in any of the Arctic zones, actually. So that's where I'm heading right now. I'm gonna kind of make my way up to like F4 area and just run around in a big circle, see what I can find. We shall see if I get lucky. You guys will be the first to see me, in my experience at least, with getting my first woolly mammoth. Other notable updates, I've alluded to it earlier in this episode, and that is the new Explorer backpack. This is a very hot tip for free. Like and subscribe. But this backpack is super OP. So it gives you an increase to 40% maximum stamina, 10% movement speed, an additional 35% stamina regeneration, a reduction in perceived threat by 15%, an additional 6 suit inventory slots, and a 25% reduction to stamina actions. So swinging a hammer, pulling back on your bow, all of these things are positively affected by using the Explorer backpack. But wait, there's more. If you pair this backpack with these modules I'm about to show you, you will kind of become godlike in speed, movement, carry capacity. Like, I'm going to show you these modules, and these are ones that I've picked out to pair best with the Explorer backpack. So you can either screenshot this, take a note in your notepad on your phone, whatever you got to do, but I highly recommend this. You want the mass dampener module. This will give you an additional 10% movement speed. You want the dose up module. This one's actually kind of optional, in my opinion. If you want to benefit from the Explorer backpack, you want to be able to stay out from base longer, go further without issues, right? So reduction to oxygen consumption, reduction to food consumption, reduction to water consumption. All of these are going to enable you to stay out longer, go further away from base, no issues. 40% fall damage. When you're moving at like, and you can test this. I tested this with Chiefer, my good buddy. I had him hop on the server. With this exact setup, I run faster than his horse on foot. I'm not even kidding you. I can jump further, run faster. I have a larger stamina bar than his horse. Like, I don't think you guys understand how absolutely OP this combination is. Like, it is insane. Lastly, the 15% increase to weight capacity, and this is the add lift module. These 4 modules right here, again, you can screenshot this. I'll kind of go slow real quick. You guys can screenshot these, pause the video, whatever you got to do, but definitely get your hands on these 4 modules and pair that with the Explorer backpack. It is, it's just absolutely insane. I mean, you look kind of ridiculous at this speed, running this fast, but that's the combo that I'm going to highly recommend. So while they have added the backpack, they've also added an absolutely terrifying, horrible creature to the game. And I'm pretty biased. I am... there might be a possibility I have a fear of spiders. I may not confirm or deny that information. But in the week 211 update to the game, the devs rolled out a brand new creature, and that is spiders, with new attacks, resources available to you, trophies and challenges that can be all yours if you just go into your game settings like so, go to gameplay and enable. Am I in the right place? Hang on a second here. I might have passed it. Let me just take this nice and slow here. I might be blind. I mean, I am actually blind, but let's see here. Oh, world settings. Here we go. So you're going to head over to custom world settings, and there is now an arachnophobia mode. You just click that on, and you will have spiders roaming your map. But with that, though, it's not all bad. You do get some benefits, like new resources, rad new trophies, new challenges, all available, as previously mentioned, with that update, week 211. For the players who prefer to avoid spiders, like myself, the arachnophobia settings, as I've already shown you, can be turned off and disabled, right? So say what you will, but I feel like the devs are doing a really good job right now of like making sure the game is the game that you want to play. Like if I had never played the game and hopped into the game and just kind of realized like, oh, spiders are roaming the entire world map, I don't think I'd be bothered by that. I think there's a good possibility I would not think twice about it. But having played for 700 plus hours before Arachnophobia mode, I'm pretty convinced I wouldn't be a fan. But that's just me. So look, like, it's not for everyone, but if it's what you want, it's the experience that you can have. And all you gotta do is play through settings. Like, it's pretty simple. However, they have added a little bit of a warning. They have said that explorers should stay alert while traveling at night, as spiders bring a set of unique and dangerous attacks. If you venture too close, they will launch poisonous webs that slow movement, making your escape more difficult and encounters far more deadly. Plan your expeditions carefully, keep your distance, and be ready for a fight when darkness falls. Defeating spiders also comes with new benefits and its own rewards. They drop a new resource, Spider Silk, which can be used in alternate crafting recipes, including new options for rope and platinum weave, offering fresh ways to progress your gear and equipment. So, look, man, they're doing great. I think the devs are doing a fantastic job of like new content, better ways to play the game, more enjoyable ways to play the game with those quality of life improvements. But they're being mindful to players who don't want any of that. So you can have your cake and eat it too when it comes to the devs who are working tirelessly to give us the game Icarus. So all of that to say, I am super pleased with everything they've rolled out up to this point. I am going to keep circling around the Arctic zone here. I didn't want to make a super long, crazy stream, like 2 hours long. Again, I'm still anxiously awaiting for a release update, a date really, for Tier 5 crafting. I am super stoked for that, and I have been saving up all of my tier crafting points for that release. I'm trying to manage my own expectations. I'm most excited about the prospect, if I'm being with you guys, for land-based transportation. I think the tames are great. Hear me out. There's nothing wrong with the tames or the mounts in the game. I think they've brought like an incredibly unique and immersive way to traverse the map, because the map is huge, right? Like if you look at where I am now compared to, where my base is all the way over here, this is a long distance for any game. But they've tried to keep it fresh. They've tried to give us new options. I mean, we have the Ubis update, we have the Mammoth update now. Like they're being creative and giving us a great product. But my goodness, I think I am just absolutely frothing at the concept of like a land-based vehicle. The 6x6 moon, what do they call it? A moon buggy. That sounds super rad. I cannot wait. I hope that's a thing. And if it's not, I sincerely apologize for getting your hopes up. I mean, I have my hopes up too, so I guess we'll both be disappointed together. But any variation of a land-based vehicle is something I tremendously look forward to. I think they've kind of positioned themselves in a perfect opportunity to deliver on this, though. And the reason I say that is if you consider we have natural gas, right? If you look at the current tech tree, with the biofuel that's already available in the game, you could technically power a vehicle. With biofuel, you could even do like a steam-based vehicle with water storage. And there's obviously the option of solar power right now as well. And in my opinion, right? Like, I'm sure the devs aren't watching AOR's videos, but it's a low-hanging fruit. They definitely have positioned themselves perfectly, epically to deliver on a pretty unique land-based vehicle. So again, I'm trying to manage my own expectations here, and I definitely don't want to get any hopes up. That's just sort of the speculation with the direction they're moving in this new tier 5 crafting menu, right? So I really hope they deliver. It's a bit challenging at times, to be honest, guys. I feel like the best things come when you're being patient, right? It usually pays off. But if it's anything like the Bethesda situation, I'm probably going to be taking a break from Icarus and going back to Gray Zone. I'm also waiting for the newest wipe on Gray Zone Warfare right now. And so if you haven't seen any content there, that's largely to be completely transparent with you guys, right? Because, I mean, you guys are my audience. I appreciate the hell out of you for watching this. So if I'm being transparent with you guys, I am just waiting for the new character wipe. Gray Zone Warfare has had a lot of bugs with the mission. But to go back to Icarus and the gameplay missions, yeah, I just, man, I'm really hoping they do deliver. I'm sure they'll do great. They've already been doing a great job with managing expectations, again. But in the meantime, we can enjoy things like the Explorer Backpack, Arachnophobia mode, as well as the new and latest mount, the Woolly Mammoth. That's it for everything I had in my notes. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the updates I just read off to you from the devs, feel free to comment down below. I try to do a good job of like reading through those as often as I can, making sure I didn't leave anyone in the dust. And yeah, tell me what your thoughts are about what we might be hoping to see in the next Tier 5 update. What do you guys think? Are we going to see a land-based vehicle? Are we going to see more mounts, more missions? What are you guys looking forward to most in this upcoming update? And what are you hoping to see in the next update? Thank you guys for tuning in this evening. As always, I appreciate the hell out of you for joining me, watching the video. Again, if you like this content, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. It's free for you, and it absolutely helps me, and it helps to build this channel. Consider sharing the video with a friend, a fellow prospector who also plays the game. Until next time, guys, I will be seeing you, hopefully, soon, with news of the Tier 5 update. Take care, guys. I'll see you. Have a good day, wherever you may be in the world right now.